Henry Bushnell is a reporter with Yahoo Sports. He spoke with Dr. Fauci. And Henry, I guess the takeaway from your piece is that we can expect these cardboard cutouts to stick around for a little longer.
Yeah, for at least a bit longer, certainly. Certainly through the beginning of the NBA, through the end of the NFL season, through the beginning of the NBA season. I think one big takeaway from both the conversation with Fauci and with others is that it's going to be a gradual progression back towards, these full stadiums. Fauci gave the timeline on that, potentially happening sometime, maybe probably Q3 of 2021. But that doesn't mean we won't maybe see, half full stadiums in the spring. It's kind of going to be a progressive ramp up back to, what we would consider sports normalcy.
Yeah, I mean, Henry, we've already seen some stadiums, even in the NFL, have fans this season. I guess they have the luxury of a little bit more time once you get into next season. But of course, they still have the Super Bowl to worry about in February. So, I mean, if you look at the NBA and the NFL and you compare them for the full season, which one might you be more optimistic about, considering Dr. Fauci's timeline?
I would actually be more optimistic about the NFL, largely because they won't have, obviously they have a very long offseason where they won't have to worry about this progressive ramp up. And they can possibly hope that once that, I think the NFL is at where it's at right now. And that's not really going to change between now and the Super Bowl this year. Whereas the NBA has a lot to lose over the 2020-2021 season. And they're going to have a lot of games without fans that are money losers, whereas the NFL could get back to normalcy when it starts up its second pandemic-affected season, I guess you could say. So I actually think the NFL might be in a better position here, especially because the vast majority of NFL stadiums are outdoors, and everything we know about the virus, outdoors is going to be more conducive to packing a bunch of fans in, whereas obviously every NBA team is playing indoors, and that's going to give public health officials a bit more pause when we think about bringing back full crowds.
Yeah, pretty crazy to think the NBA just wrapped up their playoffs in October and we're already starting the new season this month. We've seen a number of airlines, for example, float the idea of potentially being able to test travelers before they get on to ensure that they're safe as well. And is that the kind of thing that's been floated around with these arenas and stadiums? Is that a possibility? Did you get a chance to ask Dr. Fauci about the capacity of testing and whether that could be a potential requirement to at least fill the stands?
Didn't get a chance to talk with Fauci about that, but I do know that some teams, and specifically like some NBA franchises, for example, have developed like pretty elaborate plans for testing, and especially if and when rapid tests become more available that you could do the day of a game. I know some NBA teams are thinking about that. And in fact, a league memo that they sent to all 30 teams earlier this month, or I guess now last month, a few weeks ago, included some requirements or not requirements, but some guidelines for testing, especially of fans that might be sitting close to the court, or of fans that will be gathering in suites, kind of in a more social setting. So it's definitely something these teams are thinking about. Now, whether it is feasible and or whether it is even makes financial sense, there's a chance that if you're putting so many resources into these testing programs and you're only getting 20% of your stadium full anyway, it might be a money-losing proposition. But the teams are certainly thinking along those lines. And I think we will see it to some extent here and there from different teams as we get into 2021.
Yeah, you talk to players, regardless of which league we're talking about, not a lot of them excited about not having fans there. They feed off that excitement. But Henry Bushnell, sports reporter there, Yahoo Sports, appreciate you taking the time to join us.